Hooty, who all my stock market gamblers? Welcome today. I'm Tall Mike. I'm so glad you're here. What do we got going on in the stock market? Well, they're trying to push it up, right? They're trying to get the new all-time high. They would love to get that 40,000 print on the Dow Jones Industrial Average. That'd be a great headline. Biden could take his victory lap saying he pushed it up to $40,000. Well, how'd he push it up? He spent more money than any other president, right? I mean, spending money, they print it. They don't have the money, and that pushes all assets higher. But they're trying to push it up to new record highs. We'll see if they can do it. Maybe they can. Maybe we'll see. Now, the HYG, very fascinating to me. That's the junk bonds, right? That is corporations that are zombie corporations that need financing, so they have to buy this junk bonds. Now, I don't know who's buying this junk bonds. See, the corporations, they sell the bonds, but somebody's got to buy it. And they pushed up the junk bonds to a record high. It's coming off that record now, but they did push that up to a record high. So maybe they can get the stock market up to a record high. We'll see how that all plays out. All right, let's get over to the real estate market now. Now, I had some comments in the last video as far as prices of houses, right? A lot of people are starting to notice that prices in real terms are actually coming down quite a bit, right? Now, what does real terms mean? Well, it means you just take the price and you deduct out inflation, right? You deduct the inflation out. Now, the government, they're going to tell you inflation's running at, I don't know, 3.5, 3.8, something like that. But I'll tell you it's running about twice as much. So you're losing about 8% of your purchasing power every year. Now, if house prices stay the same, that would basically mean that they went down by 8% because if you sell your house, you get 8% less purchasing power. Now, if you could look at houses compared to gold and silver, they're dropping much more than this because this gold and silver have taken off into a new bull market. They're making new record highs. Well, not silver. Silver, the cheapest asset on the planet still, and I recommend you stock up on some of that while it's still down at these numbers before it does go to 50, 60, 100, 200, 300. Get silver now. Silver's a bargain. That's just my take. All right. But in real terms, house prices are coming down. But will they come down in nominal terms? Now, okay, I want to go over this because this is very fascinating to me. Now, if they keep them perfectly level and inflation runs at 10%, that means house prices are dropping by 10% in real terms, but people are more interested in this nominal number. Now, here's what's fascinating to me. All of the loans that they're doing to buy houses right now, about 10% of them are adjustable. Adjustable rate mortgages right now have come back. They've come back into play. And about 10% of all the loans being made right now are adjustable rate mortgages. Now, why would they do that? Well, they think that the fixed rate, the 30-year at 7.5, is high. And they think that this interest rates will come back down. They think that if they get an adjustable, you can find them that start out at 3 or 4% for 1 year, and then they adjust to the market rate. But you can get an adjustable that starts out low, and then they're hoping a year from now that rates have come down. So they're betting that, the 7.5, 8% we're paying now for mortgages, that they're going to be soon back down to 3%. Now, I don't see it that way. Now, a lot of people think the Federal Reserve is going to cut rates. All right, now I think they probably will. They've taken the rate increase off the table. Jerome Powell came out, said no rate hikes, right? But there's no rate cuts yet. A lot of talking, a lot of jawboning, right? If he cuts the rate, you're going to see inflation. The numbers are just going to be off the charts, right? They're going to take off. But so he's not cut the rates yet. Now he needs to get liquidity back into the market. So how's he doing that? Well, he's stopping the quantitative tightening. Now they were selling off of their letting roll off bonds, letting roll off mortgage-backed securities at a tune of $60 billion a month. Well, they're not doing that anymore, okay? They reduced it to $25 billion. Soon they're going to reduce it to zero, and soon we're going to come back to quantitative easing because that's what they have to do to save the banking system, to save the government, to save everybody. Everything's going to just fall over. Banks are going to just be like dominoes when they start to go. But anyways, there's no rate cuts yet. Now, a lot of people think they're going to cut the rate, and they may well, right? They may well. There might be a rate cut, right? But why would you cut rates when inflation is still running hot? They say 2%. Well, okay, they want to get it down 2%, running about, by their own definition, about 4%, almost double, 3.8. Okay, by their own definition, it's almost double, but they're talking about cutting rates. Well, won't that push inflation higher? Yes, it will. But they're going into emergency mode. They're going to have to cut rates. There's just no other way around it, right? If they want to save the financial system, they want to save the banking system, they want to save your pension funds, they want to save the insurance companies, they're going to have to cut rates and let inflation run. Now, here's the thing. When they cut rates, you're going to see inflation taking off, right? Inflation's going to take off. So they're at 5.5 right now. I don't even know. But okay, so let's say they cut it. Let's say they cut it down to 4%. Inflation's going to head up higher, right? Now, they're saying inflation's 4%. I'm saying it's 8%. But inflation will continue to go higher. It'll probably double. Their 4% will turn into 8%. My 8% will turn into the real inflation rate will be up well over 10%, probably 15, 16%. Okay, so what's that going to do to mortgage rates? Who's going to loan you money at 3-4% when you're running inflation at 15-16%? Nobody. The long end of the curve is going to head up higher, meaning the mortgage rates are not going to come down like the people are hoping. People are praying. They're getting adjustable rate mortgages, 10% of loans, adjustable rate mortgages. They're praying for interest rates to come down in the next year. Now, the short end of the curve may come down, but the long end of the curve, I believe, is going to go higher, higher and higher, which means mortgage rates are going to be pushed up above 10, 12, 14%, right? What's that going to do to your house? Your house will then come down even in nominal terms. Okay, this is just my take. A lot of people won't buy into this take, but this is how I see it playing out. Now, in real terms, there's no question. Houses are already dropping, and they're dropping hard in real terms. In real terms, you're going to have a crash of 50%. In terms of silver, you'll probably have a crash of much more like 80%, right? If silver is going to go up, 500 ounces will get you the average price home. Once again, that's just my take. You may have a completely different attitude. You may be a moon boy. Look, I'm a moon boy for silver. I think it's going a lot higher. A lot of moon boys for houses. Dave Ramsey, Barbara Cochran, moon boy, moon girl, think that the houses are going higher. A lot of people think the stock market is going to go parabolic from here. Could all that happen? Yeah, I suppose it could, but I don't see it playing out that way. I see if you look at the real inflation rate and you look at real prices, house prices are going to drop by about 50%. We'll see how that all plays out. Now, I want to talk about a couple things. Well, let's talk about the first one, the new way to get ownership of a house, right? The new way to get ownership. It's called a squatter, being a squatter, right? New way to take ownership. You can look at the TikTok videos. There's people that teach you how to be a squatter, right? You see what happens. Now, here's what happens. All right. So a lot of these people, they're called snowbirds. Okay, they come down from the north during the winter months, right? Like, let's say they lived in the state of Washington, very cold in the winter months. People go to Arizona, but just for the winter months. Nobody stays there in the summertime, right? You got to be out of Arizona in the summertime because it gets 100, 110, 120 degrees. Okay, so your home is vacant 4 or 5 months out of the year. Well, what they're teaching the immigrants to do, the new arrivals, I got to say the appropriate terms, is teaching them on TikTok how to go get one of these houses. Well, you stick a cone in the driveway to make sure nobody's going in, nobody's going out, nobody's living there, and then after a week of no movement, you just go ahead and move in. The law and order thing, that's out the door. No, there was a time when we had law and order in this country. No, that's out the door. Now everybody's got to get a trophy. Even if you steal it, you still get the trophy, right? Now, look, all my relatives are in Nebraska. Now, they would just laugh at this stuff because they have their own way of handling things. Maybe it's a little bit vigilante, but this would not fly in Nebraska. But in a lot of states, you can now become a squatter and obtain ownership, illegal ownership of the property. The police will show up at the door. They teach you to make a fake lease, and you show the police the fake lease. Go, look it, I have a lease from the owner. You can look the owner's name up online. Look, he signed right there. That's his signature. I have a binding contract here. You cannot kick me out, and they get to stay, right? Law and order in our country's gone out the door. The Constitution, they've thrown that away with this administration. They have no respect for the Supreme Court. We're circling the drain until we get back to law and order. Look, there's almost 2,000 retail stores going out of business in 2024. 2,000 stores. Do you know why about half of those are going out of business? Crime. Come to California. You can go in and go shopping and take $1,000 worth of stuff and walk out the door. They're not allowed to stop you. If they stop you, they get fired. If they injure you, they go to prison and you get to keep all the stuff. Look, there's no law and order, so we're losing 2,000 retail outlets. That's just because they're getting ripped off. I don't blame them. Yeah, a lot of people say maybe it's a racist thing because they're going from bad neighborhoods and closing them down. Look, if you're losing all your stuff, I used to own retail stores. Someone comes and robs all my stuff, I'm not going to stay in your neighborhood very long. I'm going to move out of the neighborhood. That's just me. That's my store. I'm going to close it down. I'm going to lose money. I'm not just going to let people walk in, take $1,000 worth of stuff, and there's nothing I can do. I can't prosecute them, right? I used to own CD stores for you young people. That's what we used to listen to music on. First there was vinyl, then there were the CDs. Now you just stream everything. But I had a CD store, and a lot of people, we did have a problem with theft. Now, thieves, they're really dumb, right? Okay, so I'd take all the CDs out and put the covers up, and they'd steal the cover thinking there's a CD in there. When they get home, they go, oh man, someone already beat me to this one. Look at these shoplifting. I don't like them. I used to be in retail. I want them prosecuted. I want them thrown in jail. That's not the way we do it anymore, especially not out here in California. All the thieves have rights. All the squatters have rights. They can move into your house when you're not there. You go on vacation, you come back, you got people living in it. Good luck trying to get them out. Look at Gordon, Nebraska. They got a system there. They kick them right out the very same day. You come to California, you aren't going to get those people out for over a year. They're going to be living free in your house with your stuff, eating your food, just because you went on a weekend vacation. Look, this is not right, but we have to get back to law and order, if you will. Now, back to real estate. I want to just point something out here. Okay, right now, what's happened? Well, we've had this big run-up in houses. Right now, what happens when you have a run-up in houses? Well, it attracts buyers. It attracts that FOMO thing, right? It attracts FOMO. Everybody's got that fear of missing out, that they're not going to get in, that they're not going to be able to buy a house, that we're running out of houses. Okay, now on the way down, who does it attract? It attracts sellers. Why does it attract sellers? Because they have equity in the property and they want to get it out before their neighbor comes and sells his, and then he has to take a lower price. Look at Billy Bob got out up here. You can get out here, but get out before your neighbor does, because he's going to be coming for your equity. So on the way down, we attract a lot of sellers. You just watch this market starting to come down. The sellers are starting to come back in. Inventory in a lot of areas higher than it was before the pandemic. It's gone up about 30% year over year in a lot of areas, and this is going to put downward pressure on prices. This is just my take. If you like this stuff, give me the thumbs up. Why not get out there, everybody? Enjoy the day, but punch that subscribe button before you go. Want to get a few more subscribers on the channel. Share this with someone if you would, so we can get our numbers up. Enjoy the day, everybody. Bye-bye now.